All right. So welcome to Corner Class Tampa. I'm David Carmina, the Tampa Unicorn. I am your host for tonight, and what we're going to talk about is weather. We're going to talk about acts of God. We're going to talk about hurricanes, y'all. So let me paint a scenario for you. You're an investor in Tampa. You found this perfect property. You put it on a contract. You've done your due diligence. You're almost ready to close. You went out there, you had your inspector with you, the general contractor, you lined up your money. You're like, hey, I am ready. I'm ready to close. I'm ready to close. This is my first investment. Yeah, I work with David. Now I work with his team, and we did a couple of deals together, but this is the first time that I'm doing it by myself. You have that sense of pride. You're like, what could go wrong? I got my hard money together. I found the perfect property. David always said, hey, listen, make sure that you have skin in the game. I have skin in the game. What could go wrong? Then you turn on the TV. You look at, wow, Eon. What the hell? So you get together, you get all together, you get to call a title company, you called your agent that you're working with. Hey, let's close. Oh no. Title work is not clean. You can't close. Well, don't worry about it. Hey, listen, let's close now and do the paperwork. No, they're not going to do that for you. They're not going to let you close on a property that's not ready. You did your part, but there may be a cloud on the title. There may be something there that they haven't flushed out. The lawyer has to do an opinion of title. He hasn't done that yet. Hell, the lawyer's not even in Florida. The lawyer, as soon as it starts raining like a half an inch, the lawyer's in Georgia. He's gone. Left the poor title girl there, Jasmine. We work with Jasmine. Left Jasmine there all by herself. I can just see her now, like, what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do. This guy wants to close. You can't close. The title's not clean. Every day. It's getting closer. Hurricane's getting closer. Now it's in Cuba. You're looking all around. You're looking out on TV. You're saying, wow, it's doing a job on Cuba. Feel sorry for those Cuba guys. Those guys, I've been to Cuba. Went to Cuba about 3 years ago. Had a great time. Beautiful place. Good food. I was in one of those little 1952, maybe if it was a 57, one of those old style cars, we were driving around, had a good time. The guy was there, he it was a group of us, and we were all together. We toured little downtown area right around the port. It was kind of a walking tour, and then we hopped in the car, and we had a couple of different cars, and we took the extended tour. Beautiful place. But now Eon is there. It is tearing up the island. I feel sorry for those guys. Next day, it's getting closer to us. Weatherman saying, watch out for Tampa. Watch out. Evacuate. I'm like, oh no. It gets closer, and all of a sudden it starts to wobble. the mayor of Tampa, Mayor Castor. She's really good person. She actually, I have to do an interview with her. She actually, said, "Hey, if you're in Zone A, you got to leave." As it got closer, Zone B got to go, mandatory evacuation. You get all these warnings and people knocking on your door, calling your phone. Hey, you got to leave. You got to leave. Title company, they're gone. They're gone, but starting to wobble, getting further and further away from Tampa. Now, one person's uh, trash is another person's treasure. Well, we haven't reversed on this one. We were spared. Tampa was spared for the most part. It made landfall further south of us. So we were spared, but it was our good fortune. But those guys really got hit hard. But hey, you're an investor in Tampa, and you go to the property. It's they turned on the lights. You lost power for a second. They turned on the lights. The electricity was restored. Minimal flooding. You go by and take a look at your property. Uh-oh, there's damage. Nothing major. Nothing major. You got, a broken window here or there. You have, you know, shingles blown off. No roof leak now. You're pretty like, okay, roof is intact. You open the door and you're kind of looking through, and a little water damage in the back room. You look up, see a leak, little brown spot. You're like, wow. My inspector, he inspected the roof and it was fine. But now you see some water damage. Not much, but you do see water damage. You go back out, debris all over the yard, but it's cosmetic. You're not worrying about that. You go around the side of the house and you look in and see another broken window. You're writing this down. Okay. So what we have here? We have two broken windows, one roof leak. Okay. Not too bad. Not too bad. Now you got a hard money loan and you call the hard money guy and you say, hey, listen, I still want to close on this thing. Hard money said, well, the hard money lender like, hey, are there any damage? Well, there's a little damage. What damage? What damage did you have? Well, I have two broken windows. I have a little leak in the back room. The room next to the master, I have a leak there. It's okay. I'm going to fix it. You gonna what? Hard money lender like, what do you mean you're going to fix it? You're not going to fix it. It's not your house. The owner has to fix that. It is not your house. But I'm ready to close. I'm ready to close. I'm 3 days from closing. They're gonna finish up the paperwork. The title's gonna get clean. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'll fix it. Don't worry about no. Fellas, that is not the way it works. It's not. It's not. Now, you call up the owner. You said, hey, Went to the house today. The property, it held up pretty well, but I went around the side and I noticed a broken window, and there's another broken window. I want to say, okay, two broken windows. All right. And the roof is leaking. The roof is leaking. Oh, whoa! The roof is leaking. It wasn't leaking when I had it. It wasn't leaking. The roof is leaking. What? Yeah, the roof is leaking. Well, we're scheduled to close in 2 days. Today is Friday. Hey, listen. Tuesday we closing. You pass your inspection period. You waive that. We all ready to close. We're ready to close. We're ready to close. The title today. Title's going to be done today. We're ready to close Tuesday. We're ready to close. We're going to talk to your lender, hard money lender. We're gonna talk to all of the parties involved. We're closing on Tuesday. No, my lender told me you have to fix the roof. The owner said, no, I'm not fixing the roof. I'm not going to fix the roof. You know what I'm going to do, though? If you don't close in 2 days, 2 business days, that means Tuesday, but guess what? I'm going to keep your money. I'm going to keep that $20,000 that you put down. I'm going to keep it, sell it to somebody else. Now, the poor guy, he's panicking. He's like, I can't believe it. The first time I'm doing something without David guiding me along, this happens. Now I'm going to lose my $20,000. I'm going to go home. My girl is going to like, hey, we close on the property. Hey, we're going to make some money. I'm like, no, I lost my $20,000. What do you mean you lost your $20,000? Yeah, the owner said that, if you don't close in 2 days, I'm taking your money. Did you call David? Did you call David? Did you call the Unicorn, the Tampa Unicorn? Did you call David? No, I didn't call David. Call David. Call David. So I get a phone call. Now, this is a hypothetical situation, and, you would think that the guy would call me. I would hope so. Many of you guys may be facing exactly that right now. You have a property somewhere in Florida. Hurricane came through, blew off a roof, did much more damage. Who's responsible for that? Who is responsible? Can the owner keep your money? Let's look at the receipts. All right. So here is the contract. This is the purchase and sale contract that real estate agents, well, anyone that's part of this buying procedure that's using this contract must abide by. Now, contract is broken up in a couple of different parts. And let's see if you guys can see this. Let me see if I can expand this out a little bit so you guys can see it. I'm going to walk you through it. Okay, so it looks like that's the best we're going to get. So this is the contract that is most commonly used for real estate transactions, investor transactions, buyer's transaction. It's called an as-is contract. Basically, it provides the best protection. In my opinion, it provides the best protection for the buyer, and still it is fair to the seller. So you have both parties. They sign. You talk about the properties here, and the compensation, how much you're going to pay for it. I want to I want to go down. You're going to talk about the financing, where there's cash, hard money, FHA, VA. The title part is here. It's very important. And then you got your survey that you got to get done, home warranty, if you're going to get extra seller to pay or you're going to buy it yourself. So we're going to go down. I'm going to keep going down here to where what is some of the more important areas. You have the inspection period. Now, this inspection period, if left blank, is 15 days, but you can put any amount there. Most of the time, you're looking at properties that are distressed, and you're looking at owners that are ready to buy. And so it's rare that you get a full 15 days, but you have an inspection period in most cases, in some cases. And then you have your escrow agent, what they're going to do with your money that you sent in. Now, remember, we sent that $20,000 in, guy. We sent it in, escrow, the title company. Most time, the title company is going to have it in their escrow, and they're waiting for the property to close. So we're going down, and we're getting to this section here. This section here, line 439. Line 439. Now, line 439 is going to save your butt. So, most agents are not even aware of line 439. Don't even know what force majeure is. What is act of God? You don't know. Line 439. 439. It's going to save your butt. Let's look at that. So, it says, verbatim, buyer or seller shall not be required to exercise or perform any rights or obligations under this contract, or be liable to each other for damages so long as performance or non-performance of the right or obligation or availability of services, insurance, or required approvals essentials to closings is disturbed or delayed, caused or prevented by a force majeure event. Force majeure means hurricanes, floods, extreme weather, earthquakes, fires, or other acts of God. Hurricanes, floods, extreme weather, earthquakes, fires, or other acts of God. Now, didn't we just have one of those? I would think that the hurricane they went through would qualify for that. Now, I want to tell you guys, I'm not a lawyer. I am not giving legal advice. Do not sue the unicorn. Don't sue me. Don't sue me. We just talking here. We are just talking here. But we did go through a hurricane. Let's see what else it says. So, or other acts of God, unusual transportation delays, wars, insufficient insurrections. Wow, they're getting deep, guys. Civil unrest, acts of terrorism, governmental actions, and mandates, government shutdowns. This is timely here. Epidemics, pandemics. I mean, they're covering it all, guys. Which, by the exercise or reasonable diligent efforts. Good Lord, I can't read tonight. Can't read it. Where's my glasses? The non-performing party is unable, or in whole or in part, to prevent or out the outcome. Now, let's look at this. They said that if we had all those things and we cannot perform, it falls under this clause. So, my guy did everything he's supposed to do. He was a couple of days away from closing. The title company said, hey, listen, the title's not clean. Hurricane happened. Not his fault. Not his fault that he couldn't perform. Let's continue on. The force majeure event will be deemed to have begun on the first day the effect of the force majeure prevents performance or non-performance, or the availability of service, insurance, or required approval. Now let's go back here to the insurance. Okay, so in most cases, if you finance a property, you cannot insure. If you finance a property, the company that you're getting the money from, whether it's hard money, traditional money, private lender, they're going to want insurance. They're going to want you to insure that property. So if you cannot, this says that if you cannot insure the property, it falls under this. Now, the one thing that I'm going to talk to you about, guys, about, maybe I might do another video for that. That is called the box. And what it is happens is that if there's a named storm inside of that box, you cannot get insurance. So this area here, this force majeure actually covers the fact that, hey, listen, I cannot get insurance, therefore I can close. So I like the way that they put those in. So the lawyers actually who wrote this, I mean, they covering everything, guys. They're covering everything. All right, so if you can't get insurance, that's another reason why you can be exempt. All right, so let's continue on. It says that including closing date. So if the time period of the event is before or including closing date, we'll be extending the closing date will be extended a reasonable time up to 7 days. 7 days after the event. Okay, so up to 7 days. So let's say we were 2 days ago, we had the event. It was lots of rain, lots of water, but you lost power to the property. You could not access the property. So even though hurricane is the hurricane that may have left Florida, you're still feeling the effects of this. So you have 7 days after the event the event is no longer prevalent. Performance under the contract provides, however, if the force majeure event continues to be prevalent, performance under the contract, under this contract, more than 30 days beyond the closing date, then either party may terminate this contract by delivering written notice to the other, and the deposit, that $20,000 deposit that you gave them, shall be refunded to the buyer. Shall be refunded to the buyer. So what does that mean, guys? It means that if a hurricane comes through or any one of those other things, act of God, flooding, you can't get insurance because of an act of God. You insurrection, the government shut down. There's some type of banking issue. All those things will allow you to be able to get under this particular clause. Okay, so you have 7 days. Let's go back to it. It says all time periods affected by the force majeure event, including closing date, will be extended a reasonable time up to 7 days. Read it again. All time periods affected by the force majeure event, the act of God, including closing date, will be extended a reasonable time up to 7 days after the event. There you have it, guys. You have, after the event is over, up to 7 days. Everything's going to be extended. Everything is going to be extended. Now, your inspection period, if you're still under inspection period, that's extended. Closing date, that's extended. If you have to reinspect, that's extended. Everything is extended up to 7 days. Now, if the event is still happening after 7 days, past 30 days, then you have this one. It says after 30 days, beyond the closing date, okay, 30 days beyond the closing date, then either party may terminate the contract by delivering written notice to the other, and the deposit shall be refunded to the buyer. Boom. Refunded to the buyer. So, again, not legal advice. We're just reading the contract, guys. We're just reading the contract. But it would seem that those threats that you got from the owner was hollow. You had a hurricane go through. It's right there on it. Right in the contract. They signed the contract, guys. They signed the contract. Just like you. You put your John Hancock on. They put their John Hancock on. They signed the contract. So if the owner wants to continue with the contract, they're going to have to fix the stuff. They're going to have to fix it. But one thing they can't do, whether they fix it or not, they can't keep your money. Now, if you can't, if they can't close, you can't perform, it's something else. But just because you didn't close on Tuesday, they can't force you to close. You can pull out, you can whip it right on out. Owner, seller. I want you to read something. Pull out your contract, seller. I want you to go to line 439. Go to line 439. Read it. 7 days out after the event is over. I'm still filling the event. I can't get to the property. Property's underwater. Lights are not on. Big old tree fell in the yard, in the front of the property. I can't get there. After the effects, 7 days kick in. Now, what you want to do is you definitely want to work with them. You want to work with the seller. Because remember, this home met all of the criteria, all of the qualifications for you to invest in. In most cases, those criteria, that qualification still exists. So you probably want to continue to move forward with the purchase of the property. You probably want to do that. If you worked with me, you know that we talked about skin in the game. You're going to make some money. So those conditions, those fundamentals, that ROI, that potential ROI is still there, return on investment. All you need is for the owner to fix a couple of things and you close. But one thing you can't do, one thing the owner cannot do is take your money. Can't force you to close just because the closing date is Tuesday and you have 7 days after the effects of the event. So I hope this helped you guys. The one thing that I do want to point out is that we didn't talk about doing an extension. You don't have to do an extension. It's automatic. It kicks in. Now, it's better that you do an extension. If you think that, you talk to your agent and your lawyer and they say, well, David, go in and do the extension. Okay. All right, let's do the extension. But what happens if the owner doesn't want to do the extension? Suppose the owner just says, hey, listen, I'm not going to do an extension with you. I want you to close on Tuesday. That's when you whip out the contract. Act of God automatically shifts all of the time frames. Whoop, whoop, including closing date. So work with the owner. Make it a win-win. Most of the time, if you have a motivated seller as well as you still want to buy, you can make it work. You can meet in the middle somewhere. But one thing they can do is take your money. Be informed. Don't let them do it. Don't let them take their money. Now, if you get stuck and you need someone to actually help you out, you have a situation where you're not quite sure, or your agent, a lot of agents don't even look at that. They don't even know what force. Do this. Go to the agent that you're working with and say, hey, listen, what is the force majeure? And they probably think it's some type of, I don't know, mustard. I don't know. Ask them what it is. Then whip out the contract and say, you know what? I talked to the Tampa Unicorn and he explained, he broke it down. Because it's timely, guys. We're still in the hurricane season. The hurricane season is not over for Florida until November 30th. So we may run into a situation where you have an insurance situation. You have a extreme weather situation, whether it's hurricane, tropical storm, something like that. That happens. Most of the time you can work with them. You can work with the seller and say, hey, listen, common sense. Let's extend the contract. You do your part, I do my part. Let's close on this. But if you have to pull out pull everything out, pull out the big guns, pull out the contract and say, hey, listen, I signed this contract. You signed this contract. There's a provision right in the contract for act of God. Don't let them take your money. Stay grinding.